This is the best way to use the Fan of the Fire Demon. Let's talk about it. What's good, YouTube? NoGoodEman coming to you today with a Fan of the Fire Demon guide video. So guys, the Fan of the Fire Demon literally just dropped at reset and we already got it to level 100 in advancement 5. Yes. As always, the SLA budget allows us to do this. So thank you guys as always for watching the video, liking and subscribing. So do you guys need this weapon? How good is this weapon? We're going to talk that and more. But before we get into a single thing, make sure you guys leave a like on the video. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Turn on post notifications to miss a live or an upload. Now, I will say that I actually have already played with this weapon, so I will give you guys my informed opinion. I did beat DEIMOS just now on both stages with this weapon, and I was in the blue. I purposely put myself in the blue. I took off a few cores on my support hunters, so I made sure that it was as accurate as possible. And I was thoroughly surprised, but I don't want to spoil that yet. Let's go ahead and get into my Sunjinu and talk about the Fan of the Fire Demon, because honestly, this is a pretty insane weapon that you guys have to use and have to get, and there's a bunch of ways you guys can get it, so let's go ahead and talk about it. Now, in the shop currently, as always, when Netmarble drops a new SSR weapon, you guys have the ability to purchase it. Now, here's what I'll say is these packs are very expensive, man. I'm not gonna suggest you guys buy this. I'm not even buying this right now, okay? I'm gonna take some time, and yeah, that's what I'll say there. But if you guys do go about your exchange shop, you guys can get these special player weapon designs. This allows you guys to craft the Fan of the Fire Demon up to 2 times now. So for the first time ever in Netmarble history, we can craft an SSR Sunjinu weapon 2 times in 1 period. So that is very nice. Go ahead and do that if you guys do have 8 at least of the special player weapon designs. Over across a few videos, I have been telling you guys to stack up on these, so hopefully you guys have been listening to your boy NGE. And then the next way you guys can get it is, of course, in that custom draw and in that weapon draw. And what I'll say is I needed about 300 tickets to get it like 3 times in the weapon draw, and then I did a few custom draws and I didn't see it there either. So with that, we finally got it advancement 5. I ended up purchasing, I think, 1 pack. So apart from having already like 400 weapon draw tickets, it's gonna be tedious for you guys to get this weapon. So I do think that this is very good for me to post this weapon as soon as possible to see how badly you may or may not need this weapon. Now, let's go ahead and get straight into it. Honestly, the Fan of the Fire Demon is honestly looking like the second coming of the Moon Shadow or the Plum. Netmarble is trying to incorporate metas or elemental metas, all elemental metas. So with that, the Fan of the Fire Demon, let's go ahead and talk about its skills, look at its passives and everything in between. Starting with the basic attack, Gino will swing a fan to unleash the power of fire. And as you can see, these are the numbers at level 7. At level 10, it looks something like this. And then go ahead and look at the core attack. This kind of reminds me of the Thetis' Grimoire move or the Orb of Avarice core attack as well. Very nice, very lovely. That's the damage at level 7, and then this is the damage at level 10. And then last but not least, we have the Flyer Flower or the weapon skill. Gino attacks enemies with an explosion of flowers and butterflies made of fire. And then this is the max amount of damage that it is going to do, and it's also going to inflict airborne on your targets. Now bear with me, because honestly, this can be a complex weapon if you don't read the passive details right. Starting with advancement 0, whenever the user's core gauge is at 100%, your Fire Flower weapon skill will change to Fleeting Youth, Beauty, and Skill. And you want to pay attention to that, because when you guys use either Fire Flower or Fleeting Youth and Beauty, the user and the team members gain 1 instance of Butterflies and Bloom. What that is, it'll increase the fire damage by 3%, increase MP recovery rate by 5%, over a duration of 60 seconds, and this can stack up to 6 times. So very good. At full uptime, you are looking at around 18% and then around 30% for your MP recovery. So very good high numbers at advancement 0. Let's not glance over anything else. Let's go back up a little bit. Fleeting Youth and Beauty, when you guys do activate this, when you get that core attack at 100% and then you use your weapon skill, damage and MP consumption the same as Fire Flower, core gauge consumption 100%. When this skill hits, time will slow down and it will also deal heavy break damage. When the user attacks pierces the target, there's a floral explosion of searing flames that will damage the target. So you do want to use Fleeting Youth and Beauty, because this is honestly a break skill. This is a break weapon, guys. This is like a conditional huntsman. Now, of course, you do have to meet the requirements of using your core gauge, but again, like I said, I played DEIMOS, so I already have a solution for that. But let's go ahead and talk about advancement 1 real quick. When using their fire break skill, the user and their team members gain 1 additional instance of Butterflies and Blooms effect, and then when Fire Flower or Fleeting Youth and Beauty hits, they inflict High Fever effect on the target. And what that will do to the target, Genu's fire damage will increase by 50% when he hits a target with High Fever. The user regains 10% of their MP one time when they are hit a target with High Fever effect applied. Duration 8 seconds. This only stacks up to one time, but a very good advancement 1. If we move on to advancement 2 though, increases the fire damage by 10%, very lovely. Now, advancement 3, kinda interesting because this only activates for Sun Jinu. But when you guys stack Butterflies and Blooms up to 6 times, it activates the Fire Demon effect. This one's pretty interesting, so bear with me. It removes all the instances and prevents you guys from getting more of the Butterflies and Bloom effect. It increases the fire damage and MP recovery rate by 50%. It increases your critical hit rate of the user's fire core skill by 30% and increases the critical hit damage of the user's fire core skill by 120%. When the user uses the fire skill, they gain super armor for 4 seconds. It consumes 5% of the user's MP every 3 seconds. And then if the user has 20% or less MP, it removes this effect. Infinite duration, this can stack up to 1 time. So when you guys have the ability, and not saying you want to get all 6 stacks immediately, I've just played it and I did get 6 stacks immediately, but guys, I honestly think there might be a better tactic in delaying your stacks probably to get a better burst damage, but we can of course talk about that a little bit later. But when you do get those 6 stacks, it's insane. It's insane. It's insane. The damage literally skyrockets. So with that, advancement 3 is definitely going to be that sweet spot. But if you're going to get advancement 3, you might as well get advancement 5, at least if you can. Again, this weapon is not going anywhere. So it's going to be in your custom draw. It's going to be in your not rate of draw, but weapon draw. And it's going to be craftable for the longest of time. So you guys don't need it right now. Like right now, everybody go max it out. No, I'm not saying that, but you do want to gradually get this weapon from time to time. Now, advancement 4 decreases the skill cooldown of Fire Flower and Fleeting Youth and Beauty by 20%. And then advancement 5, the medium potatoes. When you guys enter the stage, your user's core gauge is going to be charged by 100%, meaning you can activate that instant Fleeting Youth and Beauty effect. Nice, very nice. When the user also has all fire weapons equipped, their fire damage increases by 50%. And then when the user uses a fire attack while the fire demon effect is active, they recover 10% of their MP with a cooldown of 3 seconds. So it's honestly very, very good. And this last point on this advancement 5 kind of counteracts the advancement 3 just a little bit, not fully, but it helps you guys have Fire Demon active for a little bit longer. So this is exactly why you guys want to have that advancement 5. Also because you're going to start with the core gauge at 100%. Also because when you guys run this weapon with presumably Phoenix Soul, because that's exactly the exact weapon you're going to use it with, you guys will get an increase to your fire weapons. Come on guys, advancement 5 is just insane. Not saying this is going to be, you know, meta breaking in all other content, but for the WOBL DEIMOS, for any fire content, it's definitely a nuke. It's definitely necessary, and I'm very interested to see how this plays out in things like a guild boss and things like Power of Destruction and everything in between. But let's go ahead and show you guys some tactics on how you guys basically want to play with this weapon. Now, currently I am running the intelligence meta, and what I'll say is the intelligence meta is actually very good for this because it helps you guys get your cooldowns a little bit better, as I am running things like Reawakening, and with high intelligence that helps me with my mana as well as my cooldown reduction. Additionally, a skill that you must bring here is going to be Sonic Explosion out of Sonic Stream. The reason why you guys want to do this is because when the final hit lands, it charges the core gauge to 100%. So even if you don't have Fan of the Fire Demon at advancement 5 on day 1, if you guys fully use Sonic Explosion and get that final hit, you guys have the opportunity to activate that Fleeting Youth and Beauty skill. So you can go about it that way. That's the workaround if you guys don't have it at advancement 5. A lot of you guys won't, so there you go. And then what I did pair it with, what you're gonna see my gameplay with, is Detonation. Now hear me out, because I could have brought a break skill, but I brought Essel. And then mind you, when you guys do use Fire Fan, Fleeting Youth and Beauty, that's medium break. That's no heavy break at that. So I didn't bring a break skill. I wanted to see if I could kill DEIMOS without breaking, and honestly, DEIMOS Deimos broke. This long story short, Deimos broke. So I will say I did bring Squall as well, and then I did bring Surge. Now I just wanted to test out Surge because this does do fire damage, and with using a bunch of fire skills I did bring Surge, but I might go back to Surprise Attack because if you can time this properly, you get a nice damage increase effect to your opponent. So it's pretty cool. But from there, yes, you are going to pair the Fan of the Fire Demon with the Phoenix Soul, of course. So go ahead and get ready for that core attack spam, that core attack meta. And speaking of core attacks, I might suggest that you guys use Tusk. Now, I did not use Tusk in this lineup, but I do think Tusk might be back on the rise. So with that's just a little bit of quick thinking. I literally just thought about that right now because so much core attack spam, Tusk might be a viable shadow there. Somebody please test it out and comment in the comment section below. Let me know how that testing went. And then my Sun Jinwoo, guys, what I will say is, when I played the arena version of Deimos where he rides on the horse, I had around 4% defensive penetration, and then I realized that I'm not gonna beat the final version of Deimos with a low amount of defensive penetration. So if you guys are gonna run a Fan of the Fire Demon, keep in mind, at Advancement 5, you're gonna have lower power than Advancement 10. Especially for you guys, for you whales that want to clear hard Deimos day 1, you're gonna need a lot of CP. So keep in mind, you're gonna start having to build out your defensive penetration while also trying to keep high amounts of CP. And with that, this is currently my stat pool. Now, I must say, I am very impressed with this stat pool. Almost 29% defensive penetration, 190 on the crit damage, 50% crit rate, 99 precision, a good amount of damage increase. And then the artifacts that I did run was 4-piece curse. And my boots now do have a main stat of defensive penetration. This is honestly my Yu Sohyun boots, but we ended up switching out a few things, a few pieces so that we can get that additional defensive penetration. So a bunch of +2s, a bunch of +1s, and a few good places. And then if I even really need to, I might end up even snatching a few of Yu Sohyun's pieces. And then from there, I can just increase it even more. And that would be even insane. I didn't even think about doing this, but if I do this right now, my Sun Jinwoo's D-Pen would probably skyrocket. Yeah, so 34%, and his damage increase does get lower, but for Deimos, you're gonna want that higher defensive pen. So with that, guys, that is the best way you guys wanna go about using the Fire Fan, and that's the best way you're gonna wanna go about playing with the Fire Fan, building your Sun Jinwoo around the Fire Fan and the Fire meta. Up next, we have gameplay with Deimos, normal Deimos. So go ahead and enjoy that gameplay. Go ahead and leave your thoughts, theories, and comments below about the weapon itself. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications. With that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Y'all take care. Peace.